Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Angry J93 here today, and I'm back with my NHL 94 Talk series, and I'm here to talk about player attributes and ratings for NHL 94. I'm planning on starting my team breakdowns here very soon, but I thought it'd be a good idea to touch on this subject first as kind of a primer before I just start throwing numbers and all sorts of crazy stuff at people. So this is more geared towards people who aren't as familiar with the ratings in 94 and the attributes and what they really do. So let's just jump right into this and give everything a little bit more meaning to people. So overall rating is just a snapshot of a player's overall ability, kind of an average of every attribute. Energy is for line changes. Don't worry about it. We don't use line changes in tournament or league play. Agility and speed. So these ratings go hand in hand. Agility determines how fast a player can turn, stop, and start. Higher agility, the better they can turn, the better they can start, and the quicker they stop. Lower agility, everything's the opposite. Speed just means how fast your player can go at top speed. Hand just means if a player can shoot on their forehand with the right hand or their left hand. Offensive awareness, defensive awareness, we talk about these in tandem as well. These are a little bit more mysterious. They're harder to prove within the ROM, and like, do they actually do something or not? I generally perceive that offensive awareness allows players to find dangerous zones in the offensive zone more often, and they'll hang out there more frequently. And defensive awareness determines how often a player will come back towards his own zone, and if they'll try and cover up the slot and intercept passes. Again, these are my perceptions. Not everybody thinks the same about these, so you can either ignore them or value them very highly. It's kind of up to you. Shot power, shot accuracy. We talk about these two together. Shot power just determines how fast you can shoot the puck. That's it. Shot accuracy just determines how accurate your shot, whether it's how often a player will hit the net, or how often a player, when they do hit the net, will hit the actual target on the net that you're aiming for. So if you're aiming for the glove side on the goalie, a higher accuracy rating will more likely hit that side of the net, as opposed to maybe your player will hit the net with a lower rating, but they're going to hit the wrong part of the net, and they're going to get the shot will get blocked. So just something to keep in mind there. Pass accuracy. So pass accuracy does three things. One, higher the pass accuracy, the harder your player will pass. They'll also pass more accurately, and they'll also have an ability to have passes kind of dance through traffic to find your open teammates. Players with lower pass accuracy don't have that happen anywhere near as much. They also pass the puck slower and with less accuracy. Stick handling is the last offensive attribute. It's important because this one allows you to dance through traffic more easily. So the higher stick handling, if you're dancing through sticks and skates and other bodies and other things, you're more likely to have the puck just stay on your stick. Also, if you have a high stick handle rating and a player does hit you with, say, a body check or a stick check to try and dislodge the puck, you are more likely to have an animation occur where your player looks like they're just kind of falling off balance, but they actually maintain their balance and stay on their skates, and they also maintain the puck and can continue going about their way after the animation stops. So that's a really useful tool to have. Weight. So weight determines a few different things. So lower weights are 140 is the lowest weight. Highest weight is 252. So if your player has a lower weight, they are a better skater because they will stop faster, they will start faster, and they will get to their top speed more quickly. They also turn better, as opposed to heavier players who don't turn as well. They start slower and they stop slower as well. So you can have two players with the same exact rating skating. The lighter player is going to be the better skater just because of the physics in the game. Endurance is for line changes. Don't worry about it. Aggressiveness, very mysterious rating that doesn't really play a whole lot of role. The only thing we think it might do is determine how often a player will take a penalty, and that's higher the rating, the more penalties. But that's just a perception. Checking does two things, as I mentioned in my CB video, my CB check video. One thing it does is determine how often or how well you will CB check with a player, and the second item is the higher the check rating, the more likely they will just go around body checking people when they are in computer control mode. So a guy would say like Ray Bork has 99 checking, he's going to go around and just check people all over the ice because that's the way his computer AI is built. So that's what all these attributes mean. Most people in the community think that speed and agility are the most valuable ones. A lot of people think speed is most important. A lot of other people think agility is the most important because if you have a high agility and a little bit lower speed, those players handle really, really well, and they can kind of do all sorts of little juke moves and stutter steps and what have you to create space. And obviously, fast players are important because they're harder to catch and they're harder to defend. And so those two, I think, are overwhelmingly the most popular within the community. Shot power is also a pretty popular one, but much lesser so. Just if you shoot harder, it creates less reaction time for your opponent to switch over to manual goalie and make a save. So if you could just blow it right by them before they have a chance to even know what happened, shot power really helped you out there. And one other rating that people think is very important is stick handling, because the ability to shrug off checks, whether it be poke or body check, is a really useful thing to have, and it allows you just to keep the pressure on because you still have the puck. I do agree with the assessment that these are probably the 4 most important ratings, but I also think pass accuracy and shot accuracy and the awareness ratings, they all have a place. So don't just ignore the attributes. I mean, they're all important, but obviously there are more important ones. So just don't forget the guys who don't skate as well, but they have a good shot, because they're going to be useful too in certain situations. So don't be afraid to mix and match and play to your situation and try to get the most out of your players. So that's really the easy part about this video, is talking about the attributes and what they do. The more difficult part is talking about the ratings here, because there's a lot of misconception, but I'm going to try and keep this very simple, and I can go to a different video talking about some more detailed stuff about the actual ratings and what they mean and what they do. But I want to keep this pretty basic and bare bones for now. So let's just look at speed ratings kind of as an example here. So you have Rob Blake here, he has 73 speed, and then you have Alexei Zhitnik who has 64 speed. So what happens with NHL 94 is that this game will lie to you about what a player's rating is. Rob Blake may look like he has the higher speed rating this game, but Zhitnik might be the faster player this game, because with where you can't see it, we call it under the hood, is where you can't see what's going on with these ratings. Is the game may actually say that Zhitnik's a 73 speed this game and Blake's a 64 speed, but you don't know that because what they're showing you isn't what the truth is. So one way to kind of get around this is just to understand what's going in with under the hood. And under the hood, it doesn't look at all these ratings as separate. Like, it doesn't look at it as a 73 is separate and a 64 is separate. What it looks at is it groups all these numbers together in 7 different sets. So what's important to remember is what set of numbers your player's ratings are within. So like I just mentioned, there's 7 different sets of numbers, and I'm going to quickly run down through them. So it's based off a 0 through 6 scale. And it's inclusive, that's why it's a set of 7. So first is 0, which is a rating of 25 to 29. 1 is 30 to 37. 2 is 38 to 46. 3 is 47 to 62. 4, 63 to 80. 5, 81 to 98. And 6 is just 99. So that's what you really want to know. And that's how I'm going to talk about the ratings in my upcoming videos. Is I'm going to talk about, when I talk about Rob Blake, I'm going to talk about him like this. I'm going to say, Rob Blake, he's a 70 overall, more or less. I mean, this fluctuates every game, but more or less he's a 70. He's going to have 4 agility and 4 speed, because his agility of 71 and his speed of 73 means he falls within the range of 63 to 80, which is a 4, essentially. So for any game, he could be between 63 and 80, which is a 4. It's kind of up to you to actually feel what he is that game once you hit start and start playing, because his speed rating here may say 73, but when you actually start using him on the ice, he may feel slow that game. He's probably closer to 63, or he may feel fast, and he's probably closer to an 80, or he may feel about normal, and he's probably close to a 73, which is close to the middle of the range of 63 to 80, which is the 4 rating, essentially speaking, underneath the hood. So that's what you really want to remember, is the 4. When you think about it, there aren't too many players with 0, 1, 2, or 6 ratings that are going to be on the ice frequently for you. So what you really just need to remember is my player a 3, my player a 4, or is he a 5? Generally speaking, those are the only 3 ratings you really need to remember and memorize if you want to look at these lines and break them down in your head, or when you're watching my videos, I'm going to talk about players like this. So I'll just use Rob Blake as an example. I'll go, Rob Blake, he's a 4-4 skater, which means he's 4 agility, 4 speed. He's got offensive awareness of 4, as well as a defensive awareness of 4. His shot power is a 4. His shot accuracy is a 1, because it's a 34. His pass accuracy is 73, but that's another 4 rating. He has a lot of 4 ratings, as you're noticing, I'm sure. Stick handling is a 4. His weight's 228, so he's definitely going to be, slower to start, slower to stop, and harder to turn, despite his good skating ratings, because a 4 is a good rating. 4, 5, and 6, those are really good ratings. Anything below that, you're really getting down to kind of below average territory. And his checking's a 3. So that's essentially how I'm going to break these players down. This is a really shorthand version. I'm going to go into a little bit more detail with every player, but essentially that's how I'm going to talk about it. I'm not going to talk about he's got 71 shot power. I'm going to talk about how he has a 4 shot power, because anytime you load up the game, these ratings will fluctuate within the range that is set up within this 7 different ratings. The scale, really, it's a scale of 7 different ratings, and every game, every time you load it up, he's going to be between 63 and 80. So he's a 4. That's, I think, is the easiest way to think about it, because if you talk about each of these ratings as individual ratings by point, then 1, you're not getting the true picture because the game lies to you about what's actually going on here, and 2, the rating can fluctuate every time you load up the game. So it's just easier to talk about these players on a 0 to 6 scale. So that's what I just want to have you take away from this video, is what these attributes mean, and what the rating scale is. And then quickly, before I forget, because I almost did forget, I just want to go over goalie ratings. There's much fewer of them, and there's only a couple that really matter. So agility is the big one. More agility means the quicker they accelerate, and all you're doing with your goalie is accelerating and stopping, so this is huge. Higher agility, the better, because they're going to control more easily. Speed doesn't really do a whole lot, so don't really worry about it. You're never really at top speed with your goalie, except for very rare situations. Glove hand just means what hand they wear their glove on. There's no advantage to being a lefty or a righty, generally speaking. Defensive awareness doesn't really do anything. It just pumps up your overall, so watch out for the guys with a high defensive awareness, because they may just be pumping their overall up, and it may not mean anything in terms of their actual performance. Puck control is your rebound control. This just means how often your goalie will hold on to the puck after a shot, or how close they may keep it to them if they don't actually just hold on to it outright. So the higher the rating, the more likely they're just going to hang on to a puck. And then you have stick right, stick left, glove right, glove left. These are just your pad ratings. Essentially, if you get, like, say, a leg on a puck, how likely it is to kind of slip through you and go into the net. So you definitely want guys with higher ratings here, because they're just going to be more solid overall when they, like, say they make a toe save, or they make a save with the stick or something. They're more likely to keep it from going into the net with a higher rating, because their overall pad ratings will just be stronger. And then lastly, weight is really important. I think this is just as important as agility, maybe even more in my own mind, because the lower the weight means the better you accelerate, and the quicker you stop. And all goalie is, you want to make sure you have the utmost control of them. So the lower the weight, the better they can control. If you got a high weight goalie like Kirk McLean, he's going to be a little bit more sluggish in the net. But the one nice thing about having a heavy goalie is they're more resistant to a ram tactic, which is just essentially the opposing team just decides they want to crash the net and try and shove the puck into the net by hitting the goalie back into his own net, and you can score like that. But the heavier goalies are more resistant to that tactic, as opposed to, say, Rick Nickel, who's really light. He's going to be pretty snappy in manual control. I mean, he's only got 2 agility, but within that 2 agility rating, he's going to be pretty snappy for a guy with 2 agility. But if you ram him, he's going to go all over the ice, and he's probably going to go back into his own net and give up a goal. So generally, yeah, just stick to agility and weight. If you have a good agility weight combo for your goalie, then you're off to a really good start, and everything else is just kind of gravy. So that pretty much wraps it up. That's really the down and dirty version of it. I can get into more detail, but I'm not going to. I just want to keep this very simple. I just want people to take away what each attribute is, and that 0 to 6 scale that I'm going to be using in my team breakdown videos, which I hope to have coming up here pretty soon. So just stick around, and hopefully you'll see those posts, and feel free to comment below if you have any questions about this video, and give a thumbs up or thumbs down if you thought I was terrible. Whatever you feel. So I'd love any feedback, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.